Today, let's talk about pragmatism. It's a way of thinking that started in America, and the big name behind it in education is John Dewey. The idea is really simple. Pragmatism asks one honest question about learning. Does this actually work in real life? In other words, is the education we give students helping them deal with everyday problems and adjust to a world that keeps changing? That's the heart of it. So, what exactly is pragmatism? Let's break it down in plain terms. The first thinker, Pierce, said that the real meaning of an idea is found in what it actually does when you use it. If an idea has no real-world effect, it doesn't really mean much. Then, William James took it a step further. He said truth isn't something fixed up in the clouds. An idea becomes true when it works, when it gives results you can see and use. And then Dewey brought all of this into the classroom. For him, a good lesson is one that opens the door to more learning and more experience. If a class doesn't grow the student in any way, then it's not really education. That's the core message here. Now let's look at the four big ideas of pragmatism in education. First, practical knowledge. Knowledge has value when it actually helps you solve a real problem. If you can't use it, it doesn't do much for you. Second, dynamic truth. Truth isn't locked in stone. As we learn more and as the world changes, what we believe to be true should change too. Third, experience as the teacher. We learn best by doing something, thinking about how it went, and trying again. That cycle of doing and reflecting is where real learning happens. And fourth, democratic education. School should feel like a small version of society where students learn to talk, listen, share, and make decisions together, because that's the kind of life they'll step into as adults. Now, let's walk through the key beliefs of pragmatism, one by one. First, ideas are like tools. We judge them by what they can do, not by how nice they sound. Second, learning has to connect to real life. If a lesson has nothing to do with the world outside the classroom, students forget it quickly. Third, the teacher's job is not just to talk and pour information into students. The teacher designs real situations where students can think, try, and learn by doing. Fourth, doing alone isn't enough. After every experience, students need a moment to stop and think about what just happened and why. That's how doing turns into real understanding. And finally, the goal of all of this is to build flexible learners. The world keeps changing, so we want students who can adapt, solve new problems, and keep growing long after they leave school. So, how does pragmatism actually look in a real classroom? Let's picture it. First, project-based learning. Instead of just reading about a topic, students take on a real project and work through it from start to finish. Next, community connections. Learning doesn't stop at the classroom door. Students go out, talk to real people, and work on real problems happening around them. Then there's reflective practice. After doing something, students sit down and think about it, maybe through a journal or a class discussion. That's how a single experience turns into a lifelong lesson. There's also a democratic culture. Students get a voice. They share ideas, make choices, and learn how to cooperate. And here's a clear example. Imagine students looking into a local environmental issue, collecting data, coming up with a solution, and presenting it to the community. That's pragmatism in action. Education becomes something they live, not just something they sit through. Let's wrap this up. There's a beautiful line from Dewey that captures everything. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. Think about what that means. School isn't just a waiting room for the real world. School is part of the real world. So the real test of education is not whether a student can memorize the right answer on a test. The real test is what they can actually do once they step outside. Can they think clearly? Can they solve a problem? Can they work with other people? Can they adjust when things change? In a world that's moving faster than ever, this way of thinking about education is more important than ever. That's the takeaway. Keep it practical, keep it useful, and keep it connected to real life. To close, here is our reference list, the main sources behind everything we covered today, all written in AP 7th edition style. If you have time, try to read some of the original works yourself, especially the ones by Dewey. Going straight to the source helps you understand the ideas more deeply, and it also helps a lot if you come across these names in your review or exams. Take your time with them, and you'll find that the more you read, the clearer pragmatism becomes.